Let's move on to the next speaker. She presents herself as a developer and cloud and DevOps engineer. She was awarded Developer of the Year on the Swedish Women in Tech Awards this autumn. She volunteers as a mentor, mentoring young women who wants to make a career in tech. The superpower is to be just a really supportive and inclusive person. And she wrote a book, Learning Microsoft Azure. She's a leader in the Swedish Azure user group, and she's a very active speaker, both nationally and internationally. Please welcome Jonah Andersson.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Yes, the mic is working. Yes. How are you doing today? This is the final session before the panel. So I hope you had a great fika. Amazing sessions from the speakers since this morning. I really love all of them, and I really learned a lot. And I hope that this last session, including the panel, you still have more to bring home with you. So I want to start. You might be wondering, why is Jonah showing the website of Beauty & Code and not her presentation? So I want to actually start by doing an interaction or a quick survey. So if you have your phone with you, I want you to scan this QR code and answer this question for a few minutes. So if you're ready, I'll switch to the next slide. Oh, no, you're accepted. It's okay. To those that have phones, you can. While your phone is starting, then you can think about what superhero you will be. Okay. All right. So if you could travel back in time, I want you to think, when do you want to travel back in time? What superhero you will be and why? Short answer, no novels. And everyone should be able to see all the answers, except that this QR is still here. Let me just delete it for now. Okay. The answer was actually mixed. It's supposed to be like a combined answer, one-liner. The year, what superhero and why. But someone answered he or she wants to go back to 2000 and be a Superman. One answered 1969 to raise the space to launch. 1860s, Superman and just be a cool guy. 1984 and 1999, Superman because he rules. That's great. And then someone wants to go back to the dinosaur extinction, and I wonder why. All right. And there is someone that wants to go back in childhood days, careless days, and less stressful times. Okay. All right. You might be wondering why I asked that. So there's a lot of answers. Thank you so much for your cooperation. And I want to start now by sharing to you my answer. So my answer for this, if I could travel back in time, I would not go back to the future with this amazing flying car travel time. I think everyone have seen the movie Back to the Future. And this car is famous. I'm not a car expert, but I can drive. As long as there's like a wheels and something to drive on to keep me forward, then I can tell that I'm good with cars. But anyway, if I could go back in time, I will go back and take a leap and be a superhero like Wonder Woman. And that is actually me. So last November, I had the option to volunteer to dress up like a Wonder Woman for the first time in a fashion show, which actually was a fundraising to help support the Women Who Code initiative. And today, my goal is that I'm going to share with you the cloud migration and modernization mistakes that you need to avoid when you're doing one as a project, regardless if it's Azure, AWS, or any cloud platform. It's my first time in Beauty Code. To those who don't know me, I am a woman with lots of titles. You can also tell that I'm a Wonder Woman in my own way. I do this, lots of labels in it, but my true purpose and passion why I'm standing stage today is to inspire technology to others and inspire others about development and the amazing things that you can do with tech. And today I'll share about my cloud migration journey based on my true experience and story as a developer slash architect or whatever title that we label it today. So I was really a Wonder Woman. That's my favorite superhero. And I ended up calling myself Wonder Woman because the people that follow me and support me in the community call me Wonder Woman. And I don't know why they call me that. Maybe it's just how it is. But I migrated and helped migrate a .NET application to the cloud. This was back in 2006. So my mission was to move an on-prem IT infrastructure to the cloud. And that on-prem infrastructure, as you can see, they're very dinosaur age. One of you answered about you want to go back to the dinosaur age. So this is probably an ideal project for you. So the mission was to move away from that infrastructure because the servers that we have were very old. Windows 2008, R2, our web database, and all our environments were on that on-prem services. And then there was an update that the security patches will no longer be supported in those machines or servers. And we got SQLs, and the architecture is monolithic. Of course, we are in a Microsoft technology stack, so we chose Azure as our platform. And this is the reason why we chose Azure, because of we all know the capabilities of the cloud. AWS, GCP, they all have these promises of great features, and one of the purpose and reasons why many organizations are considering modernization or cloud migration, it's because of this hybrid capability, flexibility, ability to expand the market and be competitive out there with other IT companies. And you probably have seen this before, Azure, Microsoft Azure specifically. I speak a lot about Azure because that's the technology I work a lot every day. But other services as well have their own different types of services. And Azure is also known to change their names. And if you're a beginner, you see all of this in different categories. You are probably going to be confused where to start, what to use when you're getting started. So I had also the same thought when I was in this migration journey myself. So it was a long cloud migration journey, and I really learned a lot from it. When I say a big cloud migration journey for a small team, it means it's just me acting as a developer, maintaining the current project, doing the new project migration. Another developer that's like my bullplunk, you could call it in Swedish, the one that you talk with when you need some ideas to exchange with. And then someone that set the criterias, and then a project manager. So we are literally 4 people, but I was the one that was doing most of the hands-on, and we were under-resourced, we call it in Swedish. Who among you have seen this diagram? What do you think about it? Yeah, the classic. The first time I've seen this was when I was studying Agile System Development in .NET in Hudiksvall, Yrkeshögskolan. So I'm from Norrland, I'm in north of Sweden. So that's the first time I learned how to code .NET development. And when I saw this, I thought it was just like a series of cartoons. I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense to me. But then after working as an IT consultant for the last 8, 9 years, I realized and I learned that this really makes sense. And I think most of you that work in the different IT projects today can relate that a developer can interpret a business requirement differently. A QA can describe it and test it differently, and the different team members can also interpret it. And it tells us that in order for a project to work, we need to collaborate and understand our differences in how we translate and interpret things, including our business requirement. And when you're moving to the cloud, there are different ways how you would do that. So as you can see here on the left side, this is our traditional monolithic on-prem infrastructure. But then when you want to move to the cloud, let's just say Azure as an example, you do have the option to migrate and rehost, and an option to modernize. When you decide to migrate and rehost, you can choose the infrastructure as a service type, where you use Azure VMs, and then modernize, where you have the option to move your infrastructure as a platform as a service, or you can choose to modernize using cloud-native applications. Who among you have heard of cloud rationalization? So cloud, I didn't hear any voice, so, so let me share. So cloud rationalization is a process where you as a team or organization evaluate your options in terms of migrating to the cloud platform. It's either to migrate or modernize. It's like the term that they used in identifying those processes or steps. And Azure or Microsoft has this 5 R's of cloud rationalizations. And I wondered, and I checked actually this morning, why R's? Why not 4S? Why not 5S? Why not 5Ps? And then it was interesting to see that Microsoft used R's because of marketing reasons, and I don't know why. But anyway, there are 5 R's. The first one is rehost, and that means the typical thing that we hear when we move to the cloud. That's the lift and shift, where you're doing the strength training, the barbell. So you're literally moving your on-prem infrastructure to the cloud with, as much as possible, least minimal code changes. And the purpose for that is to save time, to minimize effort. And the common services that are being used are the infrastructure as a code, infrastructure as a service, like Azure VMs, for example. And then there's also refactor. This is when you choose to refactor or recode your existing repositories or code base so that it's movable to platform as a service type. And then there's also re-architect. You understand the word, of course, like you have to rethink about the architecture of the application, rebuild, and then completely replace, meaning if nothing else works, you either choose the option for cloud native or you choose the option to use another service like software as a service if things doesn't go well. And if all of those 5 R's doesn't work, and it's chaotic like this, there's actually one that AWS came up. And I found it actually this morning that Microsoft has 5 R's, but AWS has extra R's. So that made me open my eyes because I speak a lot about Azure, and the other cloud provider has an extra R. So the option is, if all of these things doesn't work, retain it don't do it. Don't move to the cloud and just let it go. Find another project to move. And if all those hours doesn't work, just retain it. If your existing applications are still working in production, retain it if you can't, and just maybe build something new instead. But my journey, how was it? So it was in 2006. I was a developer. I was a junior developer at that time. I had this project to do all of these things and to try all these things. At that time, I'm very beginner with Azure. I haven't written a book yet. I haven't been standing on stage like this, but I had this mission. And I was a very hungry developer who wants to learn new things. And exactly as what we heard in one of the talks today, sometimes when you get a job, a request or task to do, you just grab it. Yeah, let's do that. I'll do it. Even though behind the scenes or in my mind, I don't really have all the guts and the experience to do it. But sometimes you just do it, just like the marketing tagline. Anyway, I've done the rehost, the lift and shift, tried to move that application to Azure, to Azure using Azure VMs. It did not work. Because first it was expensive, thought the IT leaders, and then it didn't really work out as we expected. And then we tried refactoring, which means that the .NET applications that we had with ASP.NET 4.7, it is an application that was not well coded. When I say not well coded, it means 15, 20 developers, including myself, have implemented our own coding styles in it. And then when you ask the old developers or previous developers, they're actually gone in the company. And then there's no documentation about the systems. But the systems are in production. I was helping with the bugs, putting in more functionalities in it. So we tried it. We moved that application to the cloud using platform as a service like web apps, and also switching the SQL Server to Azure's SQL as a platform as a service. It worked. We had like a web app that works with the UI and everything, but there were bugs coming up. Every time you click something, there's something error coming up behind the scenes. So it did not work either. So we did another approach. We tried to re-architect by side-by-side building the system from ASP.NET 4.7 that's in production into, at that time, .NET Core was the first latest. Now it's like .NET 9 coming up soon. But we started to re-architect that application to .NET Core and a new UI, a new data models or new architecture in the database, cleaned up everything, and that actually worked. So we have an application that we could present to the client that's working on this in production. But then the project didn't make it to production. We did the demo, but the client or the users that were supposed to use the application said, no, we don't want this in production. And the main reason why they don't want it in production is because first, they don't have a budget. And the most interesting answer or reason was they don't think the cloud is safe enough or to handle the data or the security that they have in the system. And they don't know so much about the cloud capabilities. So I was like, from being a Wonder Woman, who's very powerful and very positive, learned a lot, junior developer at that time, I became 404. So literally, I was like that. So I was like out of energy, I was burned out, I went 404. And then I took a break, not just fika break, like we do between sessions today. I did have coffee, of course, because I'm also Swedish, but then I literally took a pause. I call it in Swedish. What did I do on my pause break? I actually quit my job from that project. I did not because not because I thought I was a bad developer or I was the fiasco. It is because I didn't feel that I belong in that place, the management, that I was exerting too much effort in helping with the requirement that they needed, but they didn't really get what I was trying to do and help. So I quit the job. I literally did that. And then I traveled to Portugal and did some reflections, which led me to this question: what went wrong? And I showed you a picture of chess there because I play chess. Who plays chess or fuck in Swedish? Oh, okay. Connect with me on LinkedIn and let's play. Let's play some chess. Anyway, I asked myself a question: what went wrong? Was I did wrong, or was I so optimistic about helping the project moving forward, or there was something wrong with the cloud migration planning from the beginning? So that's the reason why I asked you to answer a small question at the beginning, because if I could teleport and turn back time, I would ask myself, what could I have done differently then? If I could go back myself and travel like Wonder Woman in 2006, what would I do differently? So I come up with some common mistakes that you can think about based on my experience. And this is a true story, as you already know, and work experience and all the ups and downs and battles that I had in that project, which leads, of course, to lessons learned. So the first one that I want to share with you is to not do the mistake of not having a cloud migration strategy. So having this strategy and plan from the beginning, like any project, is very important. And finding out why are you moving to the cloud and choosing which project are really meant to be in the cloud is essential. And then the next one, don't make the mistake of not paying your tech debt. We are all, who are developers? All are developers? Yes. You can relate to how stressful it is to fix bugs caused by tech debt. And then at the same time, you have to deliver new functionalities that the business wants us to deliver every sprint, right? You know, it takes a lot of our time and some switching. But when you're moving to the cloud, it's not just paying tech debt is also relevant. It is important. You don't want to bring your debt to the cloud. For example, if you have a bug that's running in a for-each loop and you're using serverless, which can actually run in a stateful, infinite workflow, you can only imagine how much bill or cloud costs you're going to have to pay every month. So pay your tech debt now, not later. Because it will be like this picture. Probably you've seen this before. So someone is like, I don't understand why it took so long to add a new window. But there's actually something wrong going on in the house already there. So we need to fix the house first before we can put in a new window. And we need to try to communicate this. We developers communicate it to the business people that sets the requirements, because they don't really understand that there's actually bugs going there. And we cannot add butterflies in the house if there are bugs that are destroying the house, if you get what I mean. So the next one that I came up is the lack of cloud education or knowledge. So cloud readiness is very essential, and it should start from the leadership, not from the bottom up. So in my scenario, in 2006, or at that time, I was the only one that knew about cloud, and I tried to exert effort downwards up to educate the leadership. But in reality, the best way is actually to start from the leadership, from the organization, that this is what we're going to do, this is our strategy. And it is important to build your cloud heroes, the team that will be dedicated to help you with the journey. Number 4, the mistake of starting big, quick, and not smart. So sprintful steps to success is always important. So starting baby steps is actually true. Don't rush into something big unless you know what you're doing, and very, very optimistic that it's going to work. Number 5, no knowledge about cloud security. We did talk about optimistic security, great talk. And when you move to the cloud, it's also important to consider these things in terms of cloud security, compliance, GDPR. In Europe, we got different rules for that. And AI, also thinking about different things in terms of implementing it in your applications. 6, not making sure that the teams are in sync. When I talk about in sync, it means that when you build a team that will help you with your cloud journey, they need to be aligned together. And one example of that is using the tools that everyone can use, a unified tools. An example that I had was I had a colleague in my team in that project, in the cloud migration project, where we want to use Azure DevOps for our project management, for repositories, and project flows that we need to do. But then there's one team member that are used to using Excel for project management, for identifying the functionalities and tasks. He didn't want to collaborate because he prefers to do Excel for setting the task requirements, and we developers and other team members prefer to use DevOps together with QA. So my point is that using the common or unified tool and having this agreement of using on how you can collaborate is important. And this is an example of how your team should think. So this is a dance, folk dance in the Philippines. I was born in the Philippines, and this is our national dance called tinikling. So you cannot dance tinikling without being coordinated with all of the members. So I find team collaboration, a team synergy in terms of cloud migration or any project should be like tinikling. When I was in school, this is one of the folk dance that was required of me to try. And I did try actually to dance, but I hurt my foot because I couldn't do the timing. So I think if you have never done it before and you are not in synergy or you are not in sync with the other dance members, I think there's a risk that it wouldn't be a good dance. It will end up hurting each other's foot. Okay, so the next one is 7. Number 7 is not seeking help from the experts or cloud providers. So sometimes, just like our project, I was the only one or a few of us, but we could have asked help from cloud providers or experts at that time. But there is a reason why we didn't have so much contact with Microsoft at that time. It's because Microsoft was not as popular like years ago when we were doing our cloud migration journey. So there weren't so much options for us at that time. Security, I think I did mention that already, so I'll skip that. So I got 6 tips for everyone, 6 or 7 tips. First one that I want to share is the cloud adoption framework. this good tool to use when you're getting started. So what it actually does is that it helps you step by step what you would do in terms of planning. So there's the defining the strategy part, there's the planning, the ready phase, adoption, which means that you choose between migration or modernization. And then there's also in between that is the governance and management. And of course, you need to insert security within the process itself. And along with the cloud adoption, you also have the option to accelerate it or improve it by building skills with your teams. Because you can work in a project, but if your team members doesn't have any idea what Azure is, what cloud is, and what's the benefits of it, then there will be a different scenario. So learning that, making use of the tools like applying the best recommended practices are good to know. The costs. One of the things that many are concerned when they're moving to the cloud is the cost. And in order to prepare that, there are actually tools like this TCO calculator. It allows you to assess and evaluate the things that you have on-prem, calculate it, and the TCO calculator will actually help you define in numbers, in dollars or whatever currency it is, how much money you will save in the span of 5 years if you're staying on-prem and you're moving to the cloud. And there are cost management that you can use also on Azure. Azure Migrate is a tool that you can use if you have some on-prem servers that you need to sync and integrate. So what it does, it will assess your existing environment on VMs if it's compatible with the cloud. And then there's some kind of plug-in. I haven't tried it myself, but it's a plug-in or it's a software that you need to install in your VM, and then it assesses and it helps you move that. For .NET, there's a plug-in called AppCut. It's not a cat, but it's a plug-in on Visual Studio that will help you assess your existing .NET applications and evaluate it and give you options in terms of moving to Azure. Microsoft Assessment is also something that you can use in terms of finding out different ways, like for example, your tracking of your journey, your security, your DevOps, and your architecture. Well-architected framework is also one good tool to use. What it does is that it aligns with the cloud adoption framework, and it will help you build resilient applications with the pillars that it follows. So it gives you like best practices in terms of reliability, cost optimization, performance, and security. Sometimes we don't have to move to the cloud. There are times that you need to stay on-prem with your private data. I know some of the IT government agencies here in Sweden are still actually in Java, especially in Sundsvall, because they want to keep the government systems into on-prem, and they don't want to move to the cloud because of security compliance reasons. But sometimes it is actually possible to modernize and move to the cloud by doing hybrid. So Azure Arc is one tool that you can use to do that specifically on Microsoft technologies or Azure platform. So this is an example architecture or simple setup using Azure Arc. And then there's a tool for developers as well, if you want to learn about it. And for beginners, if you want to learn Azure Arc, there's a tool called Azure Jumpstart that doesn't require you to have like a box or simulate an on-prem environment. So it is a good practice for beginners to like check out to start with. Azure also has a cloud migration modernization program if you need help with that. And then I have more knowledge to share. I saw Myram showed me 10 minutes left. I have so much more to share, but Yoda said there's so much to learn as well, but we don't have so much time. But if you want to learn more about this, there's some good links. There's a lot. When it comes to Microsoft documentation, there's a lot. So you can scan the QR code on this. WAF is for the well-architected framework, CAF for cloud adoption framework, and then Azure migrates. And then I want to finalize this talk by saying that Benjamin wrote this one. It's a popular quote that by failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail. And the cloud journey that I have led me to write this book, which I did not expect to write until I had the experience. So this is a book that got published 2 months ago. And it's a book that really is from the bottom of my heart, with lots of hard work on my weekends, on my evenings for the last 18 months. And the journey that I had was the motivation why I finished this. Because I want IT organizations or developers to really prepare for any cloud migration journey that they have, and it shouldn't be just like moving to the cloud. So this is the result of this journey, and I'm going to give away a few copies. I got some stickers of Dylan. I love that sticker. I actually have one that he gave me last year, or the last time we met at the conference. So I got one. I also have stickers of my book. So if you want to have a blue bird on your laptop, I have it actually some with me. And I'm giving away a few copies of this. So right now or later during the panel, if you have time, share about what you think about Beauty in Code, the entire experience that you have in our sessions, the interesting connections that you've had. And if you tag me in Living IT, I will get notifications on LinkedIn, and I will be reaching out to you within the conference or later, or send you the book, ebook, when you get a chance. So finally, don't rush up rocket flying to the cloud. Don't do that. Unless you want to be that spaceship that went fiasco, just like the Vasa boat that we have in Stockholm. So don't do that. Don't rush. Think carefully, plan carefully. That's my advice. And of course, read my book if you're into reading paper books. There's also an online version of it. And be the superheroes in your cloud journey. And each journey that we have in the cloud is unique per project. I'm a consultant, and every time I'm asked, Jonah, how are we going to solve this? Should we use Azure? Should we use AWS? Should we use GCP? And my answer, common answer, like everyone does, is like, it depends. So it depends on the use case. So be the superhero that you want to be, that you can help with in your project. And thank you so much. That's actually my dog, Lawrence. So if you want to reach out, feel free to connect. And tack så mycket.